Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. For those of you who haven't watched before, I'm Sophie Paterson, interior designer in London, and today I'm going to be showing you around this beautiful townhouse that we've designed. It's very different from anything you've seen before. This project is very colourful, very bold, and very inspired by our fashionable client, so I can't wait to show you around. It really demonstrates our versatility as a studio. As always, I want to give you an overview of all our thoughts behind the design and some of the great design features that we've implemented in this project. So right now we're standing in the entrance hall, and like all townhouses in London, it's quite a narrow space. And I don't know what the architects were thinking back in the Georgian era, but there's never anywhere to put your coats and shoes. So our first sort of priority whenever we're designing an entrance hall like this is to create some storage. What we did here, and I think this is the most clever thing we've done the whole house, is this was previously an opening into the living room, which I'll show you next. So what we did was we ate a little bit of space on the other side, and we've done a media wall there, so it hides the fact that we've taken that space. And that's allowed us to create this proper sized wardrobe. I won't show you too much, because it's all our client stuff, but she can hang all her coats and all the shoes down there. On the other side of the wall, you can see all the paneling that we've got here. This was not original, but we really wanted to emphasize the grandeur of this space. And so we put on this plant-on molding. It's quite a simple design. We didn't want anything too bulky, again, because it's a very narrow room. But that really creates the illusion of paneling and adds some architectural interest. I love this floor. We love a checkerboard floor from Mandarin stone. And what I love about it is that it's got this tumbled edge, so it looks like it could be an original feature. Next to the coat cupboard, we've got this tiny little bench. I mean, this is not somewhere you're going to want to sit all day, but we designed this because we thought whenever you put your shoes on, it's really great to have somewhere to sit. And we had this little empty space here, so we thought, why not take the opportunity to add some beautiful upholstery fabric. We've just flipped around to the other side of the room so that I could show you this beautiful console. It's always great to have somewhere to hide your post and your keys and just have a little moment as you enter the front door. We've dressed this really simply. We've used one of our frames from the Addison Ross collection. I'll link this in the description box. And then this beautiful marble tray. This is from our collection with Co's. You can use it for hand towels, but it works equally well for having a little plant. Maybe you'd put a candle in there. And above, we've used this really organic shaped mirror, which I love. Quite often you'd be tempted when you've got paneling to use geometric shape pieces of art or mirror so that it all works together. But actually I like mixing up and breaking up all those straight lines, and I think it works really well. The last thing that I want to share with you in this room is this gorgeous runner. Our client specifically requested a Greek key pattern on her runner. She really wanted something quite bold. What we did when we were developing the design was initially we knew that we wanted to have these beautiful colours that toned well with the stone. So to save costs and be a little bit more smart, we had this section custom made. This is standard carpet that runs throughout the whole house, and then we just bound them together and we colour matched this section to this section so that you'd never know unless I told you. So now we are in the sitting room, and I'm going to show you where we stole that space from in the entrance hall. You can see this big panel here. This is the back of where that coat cupboard is. And we decided to make this a beautiful feature in here. If this had just been one big timber panel, it would have felt quite overbearing in the space. But by adding this gorgeous wall covering, this is by Cadogan, it creates a real focal point and it almost looks like artwork. We did a custom colour on the wall covering, and you can see we've picked out all the beautiful greens and blues that we've got on the soft furnishings and brought that up into the artwork. We then combined that with a much darker oak than we typically use. The client loves dark woods. And then we've also used some antique brass trim just between the wall covering and the timber to add some extra interest. When you've got a big expanse of open shelves like these, you've got to be really careful when it comes to your styling to make sure it doesn't feel too cluttered. Firstly, when it comes to the colours, try and pick out the colours that you've got in the room. So you can see we've used some beautiful celadon greens, different tones, lots of creams. But also don't feel like you've got to fill every single part of the shelf. You can see here we've left some empty space, and that's important to make sure it doesn't feel too busy. I love using contrast in our interiors, so we've also gone for a much lighter sofa that really contrasts against the darker wall covering and timber. And then these cushions are all custom, and we've always mixed different materials. We've got the velvet, then the navy boucle, and then finally the soft sateen. For the coffee table, we chose this beautiful table by Tom Faulkner, and there was a few reasons why I went for this design. Firstly, it's quite a narrow space, so this curved shape's very ergonomic and it allows a good space flow. But I also love the green verdigris finish that you've got on the outside edge. It picks out those beautiful green tones again. And lastly, I don't often use a glass top table, but here it felt like the right thing to do because it's quite limited on space. It kind of gives you the illusion of having more space. You can see through it so it doesn't feel too blocky. And I love the fact you can see the beautiful custom rug underneath. Now, I did tell you that this project was going to be very different from anything that you'd seen from us before, and that's very intentional because our client loves a mix of different eras and styles, and she particularly loves antiques. This mid-century armchair is actually one of her existing pieces that she inherited from her grandmother, and I love using clients' existing pieces because it helps the house feel instantly like a home to them when they know the pieces of furniture. To tie this armchair in with the rest of the upholstery, we didn't actually re-upholster it. She loved this deep ochre colour, but I've just styled it with a nice boucle throw. This is from Alco's collection, and this cream colour ties it in with the sofa. We worked with John Cullen on the lighting as we often do on our client projects, and a common thread that you'll see throughout all of our projects on our portfolio is that we always do lots of layers of lighting. We don't like to rely on just the overhead lights to provide all the ambient lighting. This one is also from Porta Romana. I love the heavy texture on the base, and for those of you who are channel regulars, you might recognise this one because I actually have it in my own living room at home. The chandelier in the room is actually quite a traditional classical design, and it looks like it could be an original piece that's always been there, but it's actually new. And we intentionally wanted to mix up the style and bring in a slightly more traditional chandelier to create the illusion that it was an original feature. And then again, mixing up styles, you can see for the wall lights, these ones actually swing almost like they're an earring. These are a beautiful design. We got these all the way from Australia, and I love again the inky blue coming through in the glass. And then this beautiful fireplace is actually one of the few original features we were lucky enough to inherit. All we did was refurbish it so that it's now working, and it will be perfect for a cold winter's evening. We've now moved down into the lower ground floor of the townhouse, and we are in the kitchen, which is very contemporary, very bold, unlike any kitchen I've ever seen or designed before. This space is completely transformed. Everything you see down here is new and was nothing like what we saw when we first came to this house. One of the big changes we made was adding crystal glass down here. Now, this house isn't listed, but it is in a conservation area. But we really wanted to add crystal glass because it's something that our client particularly loved. So we removed the previous balustrade here, which was the more traditional one, and we replaced it with this crystal glass, which allows all the light to come through to the staircase. To overcome building regs, that meant we had to add a little handrail on the other side of the stairs. So we designed this one so it would blend in with all the panelling. The main focal point in this kitchen is this absolutely stunning marble that we've used on all the worktops. It's called Primavera, and it was one of the very last slabs available from the quarry. Our client had seen a picture of this and was desperate to use it in her kitchen, so we've based everything around this marble. Obviously this is very bold, it's got a lot of colour, a lot of veining going on with that. So when we were designing the rest of the kitchen, which is all completely custom, we knew we really needed to pare back the design so it didn't become too much. To do that, we've gone for a spray lacquer, light coloured door, and this blends in with all the wall colour. An interesting thing that we've done in this kitchen, and something you might see in a lot of our projects, is we've introduced some curves. So we've curved the edge and the corners of this island. We've used two separate slabs, and we've done this antique brass trim in between, so it kind of hides the fact that this has a join in between it. Whenever we use curves in a room, I love to pick that out into other design elements in the room so it all feels very cohesive and relates to one another. In here, we've used these light fixtures by Apparatus that have this beautiful globe shape. And then that same curved circular theme has been carried down onto the bar stools, which I really love with this fun bolster back. I'm a huge fan of using banquette seating in kitchens. If you've looked at our portfolio or any of our other project tours, you'll see that we quite often use these. And the reason why I love them is because they're such a great space saver, but they also create a really nice, inviting piece of seating to sit on, not just when you're having meals, but if you want to watch TV or just relax in a kitchen. It's almost like between a sofa and a dining chair. For the chandelier above the table, we designed this one completely custom. We really wanted to have something that would work with the statement lighting above the island by Apparatus. We decided to design this one, and it's based off a mid-century chandelier that was originally round. And why I think it works really well with the other light fixture is because some of the materials are similar. So we have the sandblasted glass, we've got some antique brass, and we've got a tiny bit of the darker bronze metal. I actually really love designing small spaces because it makes you get really inventive and creative, and you make the most of every inch of space. Here we had this natural nib in the wall where it sits next to the chimney breast, and instead of leaving it plain, we decided we wanted to do some built-in custom joinery here. So below we've got this really narrow shelving unit where the client can store some of their objects and knickknacks, and then above we've got some open shelving with some LED lights. We've got some baskets for storage. Beautiful piece of art that's by Deborah Tarr, and it creates a nice visual in the room and creates a sense of depth as well. This again was another original fireplace. I absolutely love it. I love how it's got that kind of like stained look to the marble. I think it works really well with the marble we've used elsewhere in the kitchen. Above it we've styled it with a oil painting. This one's by Bianca Smith. I'll share her details in the description box. And then other than that, I've just kept the styling really simple with just a vase with some beautiful asparagus fern. Although each room has its own identity, you'll see some threads that run throughout this house where we've used the same approach. So we have the light oak table that matches the interiors of the cabinets, but then we've gone for these custom chairs that we've specifically designed to look like antiques. And you can see we've gone for a much warmer stain on the arm so that everything doesn't feel too matchy-matchy. I don't like it in an interior where everything's exactly the same tone of wood. It looks very sort of too tied in, it's very dated. That's what people were doing sort of 10, 15 years ago. Now it's much more about layering. It almost looks like all these pieces have been collected over time, and when you put them together in a room, they just work. Nestled at the back of the kitchen, we managed to carve out this tiny little TV room. This area was the utility room. There was nowhere downstairs where you could watch TV. Previously, this area was completely blocked off, so we had to put a structural beam above to be able to open it all up. We've really made the most of this space because this is where our client likes to lounge. You've seen the living room upstairs is a bit more formal, so we've done an L-shaped sofa in this beautiful orange velvet that was inspired by her Hermes scarf. She had this Hermes scarf before and knew that she wanted to use it as artwork, but we knew that we needed two to make sure that it fitted the space. So we sourced this additional one for her and had it framed. All the colours work really well. We then toned down the colour scheme overall by pairing that with some neutral cushions. This cushion in the lovely boucle fabric is a really nice texture, contrast to the velvet, and this one is actually from our collection with Andrew Martin, so I'll put the link in the description box. I love the brush fringe detail as well. On this wall we've carved out some space from the wall so the TV sits snugly within that and it looks very contained. And then below we've just done an open shelf with some cupboards to the side, and then we've got these little pull-out stools that you can pull out and use to put your feet up on, or they can be some secondary seating. This is one of our signature designs that we do. It's a home workstation. It works so well for our clients, so if they're cooking dinner at night time, they can oversee their children doing their homework. And what we do is we create these doors that are pocket doors that can fold back in. They can do their homework, have all their like toys and books, whatever they need, hidden away. The open shelving on either side of the home workstation we designed to fit these wicker baskets. I love a wicker basket. They're a great way to hide away toys but give you really easy access for children so they can pull them out themselves and also ideally tidy away their own toys. But by being able to fit it around the basket, we were able to make the very most of the space rather than trying to find a basket afterwards that would fit. I love this playful guest loo. The starting point of this design was the very playful wallpaper that is from Fremantle. It was based on an archive design, and then we customised the colour to work with all the beautiful golds that we wanted to use on the taps and the hardware. As you walk in, you can see that we've squeezed in a little vanity unit on the right that perfectly fits into a niche. Maximising storage was the theme that we had throughout this project. So as you go towards the toilet, you actually pass a little wardrobe on the left where we're able to take some more space from under the stairs, and we've used that for additional shoe storage. Right now I'm joining you from the principal bedroom. This is such a special room and I can't wait to show you around. One of the most prominent features in this room is this beautiful wall covering that you see behind me. We sourced this from de Gournay and our client absolutely fell in love with that. We decided to use it on all the wardrobes rather than around the whole room. It could have been maybe too much to cover all the walls in it, but by framing it on the wardrobe doors, each piece looks like a piece of art. We've combined that with a sycamore veneer and again the antique brass, and then we have these integrated handles, so all the emphasis is on the wallpaper itself. Whenever I'm designing a room, and especially a bedroom, I'm always thinking about balance within the design and with all the colours, and so we chose to bring the same wall covering across onto this elevation. We designed these cupboards on either side of the bed to create extra storage. I always recommend doing drawers on your bedside tables rather than cupboard doors or keeping it open because it's much more useful. We've picked out the plum colour that you have on the branches on the wallpaper onto the headboard with this gorgeous wool, and I love the combination of the purple and the green. It's such an unusual combination, but it feels really fresh and lively. And then for the cushions, again, we just pick out all the different colours onto the cushions. We have the plum lilac coming onto the trim. We've got a nice neutral here with a texture, and then we have some green and darker purple on the central cushion. If you've watched this channel for a while, you know I love a light bedspread. For me, those heavy, bulky bedspread days are over. And really excitingly, this is the very first prototype for a new bedspread that we are launching with Co's. It's going to be a great price point, and it's so good for doing that sort of casual look at the end of your bed. Between the bedroom and the bathroom, we have this walk-through dressing area, and we've again mixed up the materials. So here we've gone for a lacquer finish in the green to tie in with the wall covering, and then we've done this antiqued mirror in the middle, so you get a little bit of reflection, it bounces some light and also adds some interest. And I love these bronze handles that we've combined it with. We're now in the primary bathroom, and our client fell in love with this marble. It's got a lot of heavy veining. Again, you can see she really loves marble because we used quite a sort of distinctive marble in the kitchen as well. And then we chose to combine it with chrome. She didn't want to go for antique brass in here. And then we have these huge oversized wall lights that throw light onto your face, so it's the perfect place to do your makeup. For the bath area, we did an integrated bath, so she's got lots of surface area for all her shampoos and bath salts. I love this really distinctive design we've done for the shower frame. We really love to do metal framed shower screens. It's a lot more interesting than just having glass, and this really chunky frame is a really interesting feature. As we go through, you can see we've clad the whole of the shower in the same marble, and then we managed to squeeze in this tiny little niche which is just enough for a couple of shampoo bottles with an LED strip above, and that's it, a very glamorous bathroom. Welcome to the top floor. This is one of my favourite rooms in the house. It kind of feels like you're in a mini penthouse, and we just wanted to create this magical space for the client's daughter to come to. When we first saw the property, it already had this separation, and we didn't want to open it up because we thought it made perfect sense to create a little bedroom area, and then you've got the desk and the wardrobe area to the other side. The wall covering is by Cole & Son, and I love the playfulness of it, and I also love the colours. And then the client had this existing piece of art which she really wanted to incorporate into here. So we took inspiration from the colours of the Cinderella text and brought out some of those hot pink colours onto the headboard. On the bed itself, we've dressed it with this throw, which is from our collection with Andrew Martin. And then we've done a couple of cushions, again, the animal print from our Andrew Martin collection with a custom bolster and this beautiful tweed, almost looks like a Chanel jacket. We always like to use the biggest bed possible in kids' bedrooms. When we decorate a child's bedroom, we want to make sure that it will grow with them, and obviously the bigger the bed, the longer they'll be able to use it. In here, we were kind of guided by the separation of the space. We wanted to make sure we could still fit at least one bedside table. And I love the rustic texture on the handles of this one. It's quite a pared back piece, and it allows all centre stage to go onto the wallpaper. On the bed itself, all the bed linen is from our collection from Co's, and you can see we've done a little monogram, P for the daughter's name, in a pink to pick out the colour of the headboard. So if we head over the other side of the bedroom, we have her dressing area and a little dressing table / desk. This is all built-in custom joinery to make the most of the space. You really do get the most of the space when you go custom. In kids' rooms, it's all about creating those little moments that make it able for them to personalise their room. And I love this pin board. I love it so much. I'm actually going to do one for my children as well. It's all custom made, so we did an oak frame and then we picked this fabric so that it ties in with the wall covering with a little dotty pattern. For the desk chair, we've gone for a swivel chair. It's much more easy to use in a small space. And we've dressed that in another Andrew Martin throw. This is in the slightly warmer tan shade. It's really easy to transition a desk into a dressing table. You don't need to do anything specific, but by having a freestanding mirror, it enables her to use this for also doing her hair, and when she becomes older, she can do her makeup. This one is from our collection with Armac Martin, and actually it's been really fun to see this in a different finish because this is in the brass finish. Normally we do it in an antique brass, but this works really well with all the other finishes in here. Across this whole elevation, we've used it for all wardrobes. Everyone knows girls, especially as they grow older, need a lot of storage. And inside you can see we've done lighting so that she can see all of her pieces, and it's really accessible. We've made sure that the hanging rail works for her at this age, but it also is high enough that she can use it when she's a grown-up. And then lastly, on the carpet, we've gone for a loop pile. Sometimes in a project I like to transition the carpet. Not necessarily you're going to find a carpet that works in every single room. And in a kid's room I feel like a loop pile just feels a little bit more practical, and I like how it works with the more rustic decor that we have in here. Through here she has her own ensuite bathroom. And we decided to continue the pink theme into here. I absolutely love this pink stone that we've used on the vanity. And then again, we wanted to go for something a bit different from the usual vanity units where normally we might do a timber veneer. Here we decided to do a high gloss lacquer in pink. Again, it's just a bit more playful. For the taps and the brassware, we've gone for gold, and then we've carried that through onto this custom mirror and the light fitting above. We've also gone for a gold towel rail, and then we've dressed this with some of our towels that are monogrammed from Co's. And again, you can see we've picked the monogram to match with all the marble. The bath feels very decadent. It almost feels like it belongs in Hollywood, like a Hollywood starlet. And I love how we've completely clad it in the pink marble. And then we've done this really playful sheer blind just for added privacy. You can see we've done an opaque finish to the window so you can still have all that natural light coming through, but no one can actually see you. But this is more just to dress it so it doesn't feel too cold, and it brings some more colour into this wall. When I'm designing bathrooms, I'm always thinking about what is the first thing you're going to see when you walk through the door, and I always want to avoid that being the toilet. So generally we try and tuck them out of view, which is exactly what we've done here. So as you walk through, you have to kind of turn around before you see the toilet. And above here we've done some extra storage where you can put loo rolls and extra toiletries. Then we've got a little shelf here where we've hidden the flush. This bathroom didn't actually exist before, and we weren't sure if we were going to have to squeeze one in. We had a boiler and airing cupboard here before, but by moving that elsewhere we were able to create space for a shower, and we put that on this side because we have a sloped ceiling where it's in the attic, and we've clad that in the herringbone marble tile, which I think looks really nice. And then underneath we've created a little bench moment where it continues from the bath, so she can sit here and have a relax while she's having a shower. Okay guys, that is a wrap on this whole project tour. I hope you've enjoyed having a look around. It was such a special project to work on, really fun for all my team and I, and so good to show the versatility of our studio that we can cater to any different styles and tastes. If you would like more regular updates, don't forget to follow us on TikTok and Instagram at Sophie Paterson Interiors. Otherwise, we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Take care.